And of course, social issues. And for this special session we have today, the Partners of the Americas, the umbrella organization in Washington, really was our key sponsor for this session. And I want to introduce Barbara Block, who is the senior advisor in Washington for the Partners of the Americas. Hello, Barbara.
Thanks, Ariane. I'm really delighted to be here, and I'm especially thankful that you, Laura, could be here too, because we look at a lot of issues that are in common, and we don't always get a chance to talk to the directors, the actors, and producers for these kinds of films. And I'm calling them films because a film goes beyond just a movie. The film introduces ideas, things we can reflect on, and that's what Partners of the Americas is about. That's why we're so happy that the Illinois Sao Paulo partners, the Indiana Rio Grande do Sul partners are producing these kinds of festivals. And this year, because it's virtual, we can really reach larger audiences. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation. I've seen the film. I've told my whole family to watch the film. I hope they're there. And I want to thank you for taking Sunday, you know, the kind of the last day to be with us. So thank you very much. And thank you, Ariane, and the whole team for making this festival possible.
Thank you so much.
See you next year, I hope, right?
We hope so. Let's see. Yes.
Thank you, Barbara. Happy to be here.
A brief introduction for Laura. Laura is a director, an actress, dramaturg, screenwriter, singer, cultural producer, and activist in the feminist and LGBT causes. She was nominated by Congressman Gene Willis for the Mulher Cidadã, or Citizen Woman Award in 2016. Castro has currently launched the album Golpe no Tempo and is a screenwriter and co-director in the TV show Arquis, along with the premiere of the feature film Aos Nossos Filhos, or Our Children, by Maria de Medeiros, which she wrote and in which she stars next to Marieta Severo. Welcome, Laura. I would also like to introduce Mariana Santos. Mariana Santos is our moderator today. She's also a partners member. And Mariana worked for almost 10 years in Brasilia, her hometown, as a reporter and editor for several media outlets. Before moving to the United States in 2015, she lived in Germany and earned an MA degree in International Media Studies. In Germany, she worked as a reporter and editor for the media company Deutsche Welle. And currently she works in public relations. Mariana has been on our MOSTRA Curatorial Committee for the past 4 years. Mariana?
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Ariane. Thank you so much, Laura. for being here with us tonight. It's such a pleasure to have you here. And thank you everybody who has joined us tonight. We hope to have a good discussion on a very exciting movie film, as Barbara said. Yeah, so thank you so much. Laura, I would like to, I think we can kick off the discussion here while we wait for questions to come up. By the way, you who are watching us right now, type in your question in the chat box and we are gonna be happy to discuss them with Laura. So I'd like to kick off the discussion maybe talking about the adaptation. I assume that many people who watch the movie don't really know that it was actually, it's based on a play, right? A theater play that, correct me if I'm wrong, but was playing for 3 years in Brazil, right?
Yes.
From 2013 to 2016. And from that, it became a movie with many more characters. In the play, there is only the mom and the daughter. And in the movie, there are
Exactly.
many more characters and many more side stories. So I'd like for you to tell us how was this process, and how do you see, I mean, did you see like the initial idea, you know, the branches and the different stories, how it was, the process and how it felt for you, because it was originally a play written by you?
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you, Ariane, Barbara. Very happy to be here. And well, yes, it all started with this play I wrote with the same title, Aos Nossos Filhos, or Our Children, as we translate it. And this play I wrote in 2012 when I just had 3 kids with my former partner. And actually, we had a 2-year-old, and then I got pregnant and I had a little baby. And at the same time, we had a 3rd kid through adoption. And she was 3 years old. And I was full of children and full of issues, thinking about how to formally register my kids, and thinking about how I would raise them, because they had 2 mothers and we didn't have gay marriage allowed back then. We didn't have authorization to formally register them with the 2 mothers. And also I was thinking how we got to that point of actually having a lesbian family in Brazil. And I got thinking about this former generation from the 60s and all their fights, all their political fights. And then, but also this generation didn't make this revolution. They were still very uptight about the LGBT issues. And so I imagine this family, this mom, very, very, how can I say, modern, very, very progressive, progressist, yes, can I say that?
Progressive,
Yes.
yeah.
If you don't understand something with my English, please tell me. But and very, someone who did who did with her life lots of she fought against the Brazilian dictatorship. She did all those things, but she cannot understand her kid who was having a baby with another woman. And this woman, this lesbian woman, cannot understand her mother. She thinks in a more conservative way. She wants to have a family. She wants her marriage to last forever. She wants to. She's working, studying law. She's more uptight than her mother, but yet she has her personal revolution. And this came as a lightning in my head, and I wrote this play with all the kids screaming, and like all the 4 at once, like four babies. And then and very fast, I got an invitation from CCBB, Banco do Brasil, to actually do the play. And I invited Maria de Medeiros to play the role of the mother because she had done a movie, a film as well, a documentary actually, as a director called Repare Bem. And the issues of her film were very close to the play I had written. And I didn't think she would say yes, but I saw the film. I heard her latest album called Pássaros Eternos, and she had recorded Aos Nossos Filhos, the song. And then something also as a lightning told me she's the one. And she's okay, she's abroad, but I should show her this text. And then she agreed to do this. In 2 months, she was in Brazil. We were rehearsing. And we did travel 3 years with the play, not only in Brazil, we did also in Portugal and Paris. And by working with her, she had the idea to make it into a film. But she told me that as we were having dinner, and she said, but it will not be a 2-character film. All those people we talk about, they're gonna be the characters. Let's open it as a real movie, as a real picture with all the plots it can have. And so I said, yes. And we wrote this for like, well, 2 years, at least 3. We wrote it for a long time. We changed it a lot also because of the political, the difference. When we started writing, we were in a progressive Brazil. Things were moving forward, we thought. We were gaining, we were winning rights. I could register my kids, and we could marry, and things were moving forward. And then when we went to shoot the movie, things were going backwards. So we had to rewrite.
You're talking about what, 2018?
Well, we shot it in 2018.
Oh.
We were shooting in the election day.
Oh, wow.
So it was very different from the beginning when I wrote the play, and at this when we shot the movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and then but did you fear, like, when you were shooting it, were you guys concerned about any of the lines or anything, any way the movie could go? Because I think there's something interesting about elections here in the US 4 years ago, and in Brazil 2 years ago, that things that we didn't think about, or we didn't think people were thinking about, and we suddenly saw that, I don't know, some people were like scared or not, being cautious about tackling some topics. Is that what you're trying to say? Like when you're shooting the movie, actually, like in terms of how to address the message in a different context?
No way. We addressed the message as we wanted to address the message, and we were not thinking about possible problems that it might bring. But we were making a picture of a different moment, of a moment that was not so hopeful. And so we, all the violent moments at the favela, we didn't have it all in the beginning. It became stronger. Also, when everyone here watched the movie, right? Because I'm gonna say a spoiler. when she runs away, to see her daughter and the birth of her grandkid, at some point we thought she might die there, and we still don't know if she died or not. Maybe everything after that is a little dream, but we opened the dream, and there is a birth at the end. But yes, it was just a different picture. And at the moment we were the whole team, the whole crew, we were all very together on talking about these issues. more strongly than ever, because we had a bigger fight, I guess.
Yeah, and then in this sense, do you think it was even more necessary to have a movie like this? Because one of the things I was thinking watching the movie, now Vera's memories, was like, wow, I wish some people like could see this movie and just like, remember what it really was. And now regarding the dictatorship, because there are some different messages going on there, and some like the president claiming that it was not that bad, or torture didn't really exist, people deserved whatever. And
Actually, he claims it was good.
yeah, exactly. And this,
Yeah.
it's do you feel that it was even more necessary maybe to, or it is that art now in Brazil brings up this kind of topic, because people have to think about facts as they really were?
Sure, it's much more necessary than it was. I remember at the beginning, one producer read the script and said, "Well, this thing of dictatorship, it's already, we've talked about that enough. It's no news here. I think it's too much." And shortly after, we now figure that we need to talk and talk again and talk a little more. And it's very, very important. We haven't done not closely enough to reveal this past, which is coming to present in a scary way.
Yeah. Now going back to a little bit back to the part of the adaptation to the movie. Do you there is how was it to make sure that the two main topics, which were of course the horror of dictatorship and the relationship like mom daughter, and also bringing up LGBT topic, how do you think, what was the main challenge or the main challenges in creating different groups, right? Like cells of, like you have another gay couple, you have the father, and the story, the side story of the mom with the potential son. How was to work on all that, but keeping the main like core, that the core that you had for the play?
It was hard. It was hard. Uh, we wanted to show that it was not a single issue, like Vera means a generation and Tanya means a generation. So it was important for us to have other people like them. So Vera has her friends, played by Denise and Antonio Pitanga, and Tanya has her friends, the gay couple, and also the son, for instance. It was something very, very fast in the play. You had the dialogue between mother and daughter, and then sometimes we had the song, and then the mother was giving an interview to someone you don't see. And I guess when I started writing, I even didn't know who it was. And then at some point of the play, she says, "Well, I'm just telling all this because it's for you, because of your mother." And then it's very hard for me to bring up these memories, but since it's for you, I'm telling that. And that's all. You don't have this character, you don't know who he is, you don't know who the mother is, you know nothing about that. And then Maria, who played the role, she's the one who brought up this character to life as he is in the major role and the major plot of this character. She had an idea. She had thoughts of who this character was to do the part. Since she was the actress, she thought about who she was talking to. And then we started developing this story. And also in the play, Tanya was the one who was born in Chile, and when she was little, she was exiled with her mother. And then at the film, Sergio begins to be this baby from the dictatorship, and Tanya was born later on. So it was hard. We thought it was good because then Tanya and Vera were fighting for a baby they may lose. We started to figure those intersections in their stories. And also Vera was in love with a woman somehow, with Amelia, with the mother of Sergio, not sexually in love, but somehow in love. So we tried to bring those similar feelings they had in different situations. And I think that was how we could talk about all those different things and still keep the main plot.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I think intriguing too, because to the end, I watched the movie twice, and to the end, I was still not sure what kind of feeling was going on from Vera towards Sergio. It sounded like she didn't really want to believe that he was. I mean, she wanted to believe that he's her child, but she tried to. That there is the dialogue where she says like, "Keep your distance," like I don't want to see you or get away with my life, something like that. And yeah, there was. Sorry.
No, finish, please.
Yeah, no, and yeah, and this, I think everybody who watched was like, "Well, what was actually going on here?" And ended up being like a very intriguing part of the plot, I guess.
Yes. Actually, what she tells him is that you doesn't exist. You don't exist, right?
Oh
That's
yeah,
what she
yeah, that's
tells
true.
him.
Yeah, you don't exist. Get away from my life because you don't
You don't
exist.
exist. You don't exist. And maybe he doesn't exist.
Yeah, maybe it's him, maybe it's not.
Maybe he doesn't even exist.
For building these characters, especially
After that, he's not on the movie anymore. What?
sorry, it's we are having some delay. That's why I'm actually talking over you. I'm sorry. But
No.
I was just thinking, did you for building these characters, especially the ones connected to dictatorship, that have those memories from those times? Did you get inspiration on someone or some other people? Did you like talk to other people or have family experience on that?
Yes, it's all real. We did lots of research. I guess my first inspiration was my mother was married to someone who went who was arrested and tortured and exilated, and I guess this story was the closest to me. But I named the character Vera as to honor Vera Silvia, who was an ex-combatant, very important, who actually she kidnapped the American ambassador back then.
Okay.
Talking it here, but she was tortured in a terrible way. She went to Argelia in a wheelchair, and she got well, very weak since then. And I guess she was the only woman in this action. And but also we went through the archives of Comissão da Verdade, through committee, I don't know how to say that, which was
The commission, yeah, is the commission that
yeah,
studied.
it was a commission that started to work with these memories and got lots of people to tell about those memories and the stories and the names and all that happened. And we had this a few years ago, and it was an important movement. And we read a lot of these archives, and so all that everything she says happened to somebody, and so we didn't make up anything.
Which is horrible, right? But it's, again,
Yes.
unfortunately necessary to say, to talk about, since yeah, I believe that probably the way that dictatorship ended, the transition time in Brazil was people didn't really discuss the issue, or the ones
Really not
responsible
enough.
for torture were never punished, or yeah, there was this thing up in the air. It was a smooth transition, as they like to say, but didn't really, yeah, address these problems. And I mean, probably that's why we are where we are now, having to talk
Where we
again
are.
about it.
Sure.
Now about the LGBT, and you already talked a little bit about it, but how do you feel that the movie scene in Brazil is working, like is developing in this sense? I know that for some years already, there are some LGBT festivals specifically to show movies on the topic, but it's something that it has been growing over the years. But I would like for you to tell us, how is the scene in Brazil now? Is it like, especially now after 2018, when all that happened, like we have a different political context in Brazil, and is it like boosting or pushing this kind of topic because people want to talk more about it, or not really? How is the development of this topic in the movie scene?
Well, I think the LGBT issue is growing as a theme in Brazil, still growing. But the thing now is that our government is really against art and against cinema, and even more against this topic. And so it is especially hard to work with LGBT themes. We had some projects who had budget approved that were cut it out of the, I don't know how to explain that in English, but the government took out of the list of the approved projects, for instance,
Public
with
funding, right?
no specific reason. Public funding. But do you remember that there were like 4 different films who were cut off the public funding, and now we see the films. They don't say it's this is the reason, but we see that you don't get it approved by the government movie films agency. You have everything really hard to do, to show at the movies. Things are harder. Really, it's hard for everyone, but if you were talking about this, it's harder for you. And this he says, right, the president told Regina Duarte, remember, she was the cultural secretary, because we don't have a ministry anymore for culture. Yes, and he told her that she shouldn't allow LGBT topics. He said it in public. So I think people are doing, because I think we must do. And so, but it's getting really hard to happen. But we are doing. So at some point, we're going to be able to show, and at some point, we are going to go through this hard time.
So the word I have in my mind maybe is strong, but maybe it's what is going on. It's like some sort of censorship in terms of what the government thinks that Brazilians should be
For
seeing.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, it would be easier if it was clear censorship. Like if he told everyone it was a censorship, it would be easier. But it's something that it works like, okay, now you have no money, now you have no rights, now you have, now it's closed, now you can't go through here. Now it's like it's done in a way that and he says he doesn't approve the topic. He thinks that government shouldn't government's funds shouldn't approve those kind of films, and also they make it harder to happen in all possible ways. But they don't say it's forbidden, but it's the way it's happening.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, so now I know that the main story now, going back to the actual main story, do you why having a mother and a daughter? I know that there are many there's a lot to say about relationship between two women, right? Like the mother and the daughter. Why was that the primary thing that you wanted to show when you first wrote the play?
Why I chose a mother and a daughter? Is that it?
Yeah.
I don't know
Why?
if I understood.
You wanted to focus on two topics, but mainly was this relationship, and it's this is something that is very like in families we always talk about it, right? Like the relationship between mothers, specifically mothers and daughters. And was it like
Yes.
you had two important topics and you wanted to show it through a kind of,
This
I don't
relationship.
want to say
Yes.
problematic, but so yeah, some
Yes. I guess now I got it. Well, first I wanted to talk about generations. So and Brazil in those two different moments. But I chose a mother and a daughter because actually I wanted to talk about love and how it can overcome our prejudice, and this is something that a mother-daughter relationship can do. It's complicated, but you can overcome what you think through love. Your prejudices you can overcome. I think this is what the two characters are doing all the time. The mother has to overcome her prejudice, and the daughter as well, and so they become better people, and they are better to have this other generation who is this child who's going to be born. So one is getting better to become a grandma, and the other is getting better to become a mother. And this sense of generations and love was very clear for me, also because I was a new mother of three at the time I started writing this. So it was all about what I got and what I'm giving. And it's complicated, but it's also a place where you can if you can break, but if you get through it, you can really get better, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it was fascinating, a very fascinating way of presenting the topic. We have a question here that just came up. So Vera's character had a rich complexity. Her story with the dictatorship, her difficult relationship with Tanya, her daughter, and her nonprofit work. Can you tell us a little bit about building such a character?
Let me read here. Dictatorship, difficult relationship with Tanya, and non-profit work. Okay. Well, as I said, Vera was from the beginning this generation of the 60s, this woman with dreams, this woman that believes in building a better humanity, who is utopic somehow. She exists. This generation existed and many gave their lives to this dream, and some survived. And they are people who are still with this, well, they are different people, but some of them are still this very special kind of people who believes in a better world, and that is one of them. And so in this moment in Brazil, she is working at a favela, and with HIV positive children. Actually, this work is inspired also in Lucinha, who is she's the mother of one great singer, Brazilian singer, Cazuza, who died with AIDS, and she built a home for HIV children. And so Vera works with this, and it's a non-profit work. Actually, she spends more than what she gains there. But it has to do with her personality. She's someone who wants to do this her whole life, and this makes her it makes her relationship with her daughter harder, because the daughter always thought that she had bigger issues than raising her. So it was not good enough to be a mother. She had to save the whole world. She had to save all the children. She had to save everybody, but she wasn't there for her. When she had a nightmare, she was busy with other stuff. And so the daughter brings up this hard relationship with the mother, and it gets worse when she turns out to be a lesbian, and the mother she doesn't really understand. She almost doesn't believe. She thinks it's something very, very crazy. And so they get apart, and she started living her life, and the mother her life, and with the adventure of the baby, they're gonna they're gonna talk to each other again and build again their relationship.
Yeah, what I really thought was very nice to see. Usually we have like linear characters. The one who is good to the end. The one who is bad to the end. And yes, the question said, like, this is a very complex, though those two are very complex characters.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even the daughter, who's so like progressive, she understands a lot about prejudice. And there is one scene where she is like, she doesn't know what her mom is doing there with that kid bleeding who has HIV. And yeah, this is how we are, right? We are complex people. And I thought it was very interesting. I mean, to see people who really live ways that you would never think that they would be so conservative or not really understand other issues that are around them.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's another question here. The first shot of this film is the cat, and the cat also shows up in some shots. Would you mind sharing some information about what the cat represent in this film?
Well, I guess the cat was the baby until they had the baby. It's like two women, they have plants, they have a cat, they have life, they raise things. There is a scene also where she's watering the plants. Actually, Vanessa is watering the plants and they are taking care of the cat. They want to have a baby. Uh, because they already have take care of life. They have an animal. It's like their baby at the moment. Also, along with the plants, they are at this moment of the relationship. I think it's that. Also, I love cats.
It's a cute cat. Yeah, and there's another question. I think you partially answered, but there you go. I am a little bit curious about how the filmmaking industry how is the filmmaking industry in Brazil today? Do you guys still have the censorship now? We're just talking about this kind of hidden censorship in terms of passing funds, but in general, like there were some actions against not really movies, but I remember some time ago, I think it was the first 2019, yeah, last year, feels like so long ago, when there were presentation, like in a museum, right? There was an art installation, and there were people against it. There were lots of protests in front of the museum. Now thinking back, actually, I was expecting things to be in a much worse place than they are right now. Maybe because of the pandemic, people are not really gathering for protesting, or art is really not happening. But the first year was kind of scary.
Yes, yes. I think Mariana said pretty much everything. We don't have a former censorship, but formal censorship, like some place in the government where there is the censorship. But we had museums closing exhibitions. We had theater plays being canceled, and we are having a really hard time to make movies. But we are organized, I guess. We are trying to fight against it all, but it's a hard moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there some another message here. Congratulations, our oh, it's in Spanish.
Nuestras familias son parentales con familias como todas las obras, como una muestra de la diversidad humana y nuevas formas de vivir en familia. Thank you, Nancy. I don't speak Spanish, but I can read.
Yeah, our
and
families, like many other families, human diversity, different ways of living their lives, or living a family. The other one is a question mentioning a movie that is actually in the MOSTRA this year. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, Deslembro, which yeah, it's a movie about the main character is this girl who was born, as you mentioned, like originally Tanya was born in Chile. This girl was born in France, and then the family moved back after amnesty.
I saw.
Yeah, yeah, just for the ones who haven't watched it, and they moved back to Brazil. And it's not really a question, actually. It's more of a comment that there is some parallels between these two movies, and the issue of parents that want to change the world and the conflicts with raising their children.
I love Deslembro. It's a beautiful film. Who didn't see, please do. It's very, very beautiful. And Gisela was the producer of Deslembro, and she also worked in our movie. And also Ana Paula, who did art direction. she worked in both movies as well.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we have another question. I mean, I think this question is more about, do you think it's more of a the lesbian point of view, or it could be seen as a film for sexual diversity, diverse fam? I mean, I probably mistranslated this, but it's more in the terms of the diversity, or it could be seen more as a lesbian movie, or more, I think it's more diverse, because it's you have like love is love, and the same issues that a female couple go through and a male couple goes through is, or a transgender couple goes through is very similar, right?
I guess it's a family movie.
A very
But
nice.
also it is, but, uh, but also it is a lesbian movie in the sense that since I'm lesbian and I wrote this, and I feel I'm figuring Nancia is also a lesbian with a family and everything. I think it's good for us to see ourselves in the movies and to be well represented. So it's a family movie, but it's also a horror movie. It's a lesbian movie as well.
There is a very nice line on, you just said, one of the answers that it's a movie about love. And I remember one of the scenes, I think when they're hiding from a shooting that is going on, and Tanya is visiting Vera, the orphanage, the place, and they start talking about their relationship and how Tanya was, she says that she grew up worried about her mom and that she had nightmares. She wanted to protect her. And the mom says, "Well, I'm sorry." It's such a beautiful scene. And you saying, yeah, it's mainly about love, whatever it is, mom, daughter, and partner, and even the father, who we haven't mentioned yet, but is someone so caring and so loving and so accepting. And it's really beautiful small stories going on, and of course the main story. Yeah, I guess we have another another movie, another question here. Laura, in the movie, people needed to hide a few times from the firearm shots. I'd love to hear about your comment about the violence in Rio, and why did you choose to portray that scene a few times?
Because it's common. It happens like frequently, a lot, and you can hear it if you are in the sometimes in rich parts of the city. You will hear the firearm or the fireworks that they also use to announce some kind of uh,
Law enforcement.
drugs are coming in or coming out or something like that. And but it's very common for the people who lives at the favelas. It's something like, for instance, I had my kids in public school for a while, and there were some people who lived at the favelas, and the people would get there and say, well, I chose that school because it's not in the favela, because at the favela, when there is a shooting, I cannot work because I cannot leave my kid at school. It's like when it was raining, I couldn't let my kid at school. It's as common as when it's raining. So, and the people talk about it like this. And very often people are dead, children are dead due to some lost, they call it lost shot or something. And a lost bullet, yes, a lost bullet. And it's a terrible, terrible, terrible reality. And well, Vera goes into this reality every day. She lives there. the whole city is over this, is close to this. And really, you really don't have a very far away to go. It's so close. Maria says it's a vertical city, and it is. Things are close. Marieta Severo, for instance, who is the main actress, also along with me, she plays the mother, but she's a wonderful Brazilian actress, and she's very famous, and she has a wonderful house in a rich place. And she says that she had to hide under the bed once in a while.
Oh, wow.
And yes, and so we got used to it somehow. And I live in Santa Teresa, and I hear the shots, and I say, well, there is a shooting there. But it's true. And so that's why it happened more than once. It's not an isolated
right?
event. What?
Part of their realities, part of their routine.
It's part of their realities, really.
Where did you shoot the scenes from the orphanage? It's not in the favela.
It was actually Santa Teresa. No, Santa Teresa.
Okay.
It's a neighborhood where I live. It's also in a hill, but it's not a favela. Mm-hmm. You can see the favela close. There are some favelas, but it's not there, not inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have another question coming up here. The movie is very realistic, especially the complicated relationships, communications, for example, the secrets, Vanessa and Tanya, the mother and Tanya, lack of understanding between the father and the mother. Why are they separating? So many questions. I almost thought that Sergio was the son. Yeah, that's that's what we were just talking. Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, that's the now maybe coming back to the very first question of having these different groups or cells. I don't really know what would be the right nucleus translation in English, but having different cells of stories, right? And you ended up raising like different questions and issues that you kept thinking along the movie while you're watching. And yeah, that was something interesting, and that we kept thinking about after we watched the movie. Like that, I actually I haven't thought about it, but yeah, the father and the mother, why are they divorced, for example?
Wow, I think they're divorced because they got to live in very different worlds. Like he's an executive, like he's always with a tie, and he has. She says sometimes he works in a bank, and he has he was also someone worried with with those people who were arrested in the dictatorship, and he fought for them. But at this point, he's worried about his whiskey, and she is still going to the favelas every day. So they are in different moments of their lives, very different. And so I think that's why they separated. At the movie, all you see is that she says she's tired. She doesn't want that anymore. She wants to make a revolution where she can, and I think she's in a moment of her life where she is making revolutions. Really, she breaks up with her husband. She starts to remember what she lived in the dictatorship, and she starts to remember that with Sergio. And what I think about Sergio is that he is the son, and he doesn't exist, and he's someone she made up to be able to remember. That's what I think. She starts talking to someone who is the ideal son. He's the one he's, I think, everything she wanted in her son. And it's also mixed up with Amelia's son. So it's like also a son of two women. He has two mothers, Sergio, as the baby from Tanya and Vanessa's baby. So he is a baby who is Sergio Amelia's son and also Sergio her son. And he's the perfect man. He's a journalist. He understands her. He listens to her, and she's in love with him. He's perfect, and he simply doesn't exist because no one is that perfect. This perfect son who she lost doesn't exist. And so after she goes through all those memories and everything, she's able to say goodbye to Sergio, the guy, the image, the journalist, and also right after that to her son with the actual funeral, and you don't see him anymore. So it's supposed to be open. You can believe whatever you think, but the idea was that he really, when she says you don't exist just because he doesn't exist.
Yeah, I was almost shouting the other side of the screen here. DNA test, check if it's your son. But yeah, maybe she didn't want to find out. Yeah, so we don't have other questions coming up, but I have one last question for you. Where did you find the adorable Kaique and the adorable kids in the orphanage? They are just super cute. And very good actors too.
It was a casting. Yes, it was a casting. And Kaique is a very good football player.
Oh.
He lives at Rocinha. What?
I was just saying he was playing himself in the movie. Like he's a soccer player in the movie. Like he wants to be famous.
Yes, he's a very good soccer player. He's a very good soccer player, and we wanted a kid who played soccer well. And then some people told him to do the test, and he's wonderful, really wonderful. Great actor, great soccer player. He's going to be a great guy. He's like this big now. 2 years, he's...
Yeah, this age, they just grow.
He's gotten bigger than me.
Voice changes and everything. We are running out of time, but we have one last question here that just came up. You had Laura, you had a double role in this film as an actress and producer. What were some of the most challenging things about switching between roles? That's actually an interesting question. And also, like, the original, the story is based on the movie is based on a story that you wrote, and then in this movie you were an actress again, like you were in the play, but as a producer. How was that, like, playing and all working in all those roles? How was it? Hello, Laura? Laura?
I wonder what happened. She's.
I think we may be having a problem with her connection. We lost her. Let's see if she can reconnect.
Wow. Something went wrong.
Yeah, let's wait a little bit. Maybe she's having like internet issues.
Right on our last question. Oh.
Well, it's good that was the last question. She was able to answer all the others.
Let's see.
She's joining. We hear the okay. Oh, there.
Hi.
Hi, you're back.
Yes,
Welcome back.
I guess I'm back.
Thank you so
I had
much.
a problem here with the Wi-Fi.
No problem. It's the last question, so I don't know
think
if you.
now it's back on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. For you. Did you hear the last question, or should we repeat?
Maybe repeat the last question.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the question is, you had a double role in this film as an actress and producer. What were some of the most challenging things about switching between roles?
I had a lot of roles in this film, as a writer, as an actress, as a producer. I also did the song. And the thing is that I think it was like doing only one thing, because I was doing the film. So it wasn't really hard to do different things, because it was like when you're painting, you're painting something, you would go from red to green to yellow, and you would use all the colors to do what you want. And I had this great partnership with Maria, the director. She had the final vision about what was the movie. We wrote together, but I was really interested in painting this picture with her. So I used all the colors I had in my suitcase.
Oh, that's great. It's totally your baby, since we were talking about babies here.
It's my baby. Yes, it's my baby.
Yeah, so Laura, we want to thank you for being with us this evening here. It's late in Brazil, but yeah, thank you so much. It was awesome. It was amazing to watch to see the movie and all the topics that you brought to us tonight. Hi. Hola.
This is my firstborn. That's all.
What's her name?
This is Rosa. To say
Rosa.
goodbye. Rosa.
How cute.
Yeah. All right, so thank you again, and yeah, and again, thank you for letting us present the movie in our festival. We are very happy to have this great topic that we could discuss about tonight.
I want am I on?
Yeah.
Yes, I want to thank you very, very much, Laura. It is really a pleasure not only to get to meet you, to hear some of your thoughts on doing this incredible movie, and because just today we were discussing the same subject in the other movie, and I think that when we think there are so many prejudices in this world, and we need to take a look at them. We have, all these issues that are brought to us. It is Black issues or transgenders issues, so many issues of discriminations, rich and poor. And we have to get to a point, I think we have tools in our hands that we have to get to a point when we accept them, not as something to fight, but it is something that exists and it's part of our humanity. And we need to accept, to be more accepting of, of this kind of issues, and treat people as people. That's what we are, all of us, blacks, white, poor, transgender or not, we are people, and we all have this love We have our lives where we have people we love, we have families, we belong to a society where we have responsibilities. And that's what we have to think about and not focus on those things as, issues that we have to fight like crazy. Um, I think if people were more accepting, we wouldn't have all these big problems that we have, right now. And it seems that right now things are mounting instead of instead of us solving some of the problems, we are having them mount and become bigger and bigger. And of course, dictatorships or don't help it a lot. So, but I really, really thank you so much and please thank Maria Meirelles for me too, because it is an incredible work of art. I want to thank Mariana so much for moderating this session. I really appreciate that. And Barbara, thank you, and partners for all that you have done for us to be able to bring this Mostra and this festival. And I really need to thank all our sponsors, the partners and the Department of Cultural Affairs here in Chicago, who also granted us, and all the wonderful partner universities that we have, who have Northwestern University of Chicago, Columbia College Chicago, DePaul University, Purdue University in Indiana, the Partners Chapter in Indiana, who really have helped always from many, many years throughout MOSTRA. And we have my curatorial committee, which is just unbelievable and wonderful. Mariana is part of it too. And so we have a wonderful time. It is very hard because we work hours and hours on screening movies, and finally having to decide on a few movies to show at the festival. So it is a work of love, and it lasts the whole year. And we also, I want to thank our moderators, because we had 5 moderators for our master this year, which have been very, very knowledgeable and wonderful. And my virtual team, Luana and Alex and Sarah, and all the other wonderful young people that helped me out put this master together. This is the first virtual master that we have. So it was a very new ball game for us. And most of all, I want to thank our audience, because if without the audience, we don't have a festival. And so I really thank all of you who have been with us for the last 12 days. Thank you so, so much. And I hope that if you haven't had a chance to see the movies, you will try to see them, because every one of them were just unbelievable. Thank to all the directors who allowed us to show their movies. Thank you to the producers and that were with us, some of them also part of our discussions. So many people to thank, and my partners of Illinois, which is also part of this whole project. Thank you all so much. This is the end of our master for this year. It is like I feel all sorry when I have to say goodbye, but I think we had a wonderful project. Thank you so much, and thank you all for making it possible. Without every single one of you, and one of the director today, Leo, said something that is I like to say all the time, like when I thank my virtual team. It is a work of a team. It's not a work of one person. It's a work of a team. And I have had the best team ever. Young, very young college students that helped me out this year to make it possible. So to all of you, my love, thank you so much to every one of you. And I'll see you next year, hopefully virtually or personally or both. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.